2020 has been such an unusual and disruptive year that I wanted to give you an update on the Milwaukee County parks with a focus on our 2021 budget. The good news is that we'll be done with 2020 in just a few weeks. The bad news, of course, is that its impacts will continue throughout the next year. In November, the $1.18 billion Milwaukee County budget was adopted, which includes roughly $35 million for parks operating budget, as well as funding for capital projects. But before I get into that and what it means for parks and trails in 2021, I'm going to share an overview of how the pandemic impacted our 2020 operations and budget. Our revenue generating services make up 60% of our operating budget. And when COVID-19 first hit, we knew it would have a major impact on those services, as well as we had to close our indoor public spaces, our pools, our sports facilities, and we also had to refund hundreds of thousands of dollars due to canceled venue rentals and special events. In April, our initial estimates suggested that the park system would have a budget shortfall of $10 million. So we took immediate action to help offset that loss. Spending and hiring was frozen, which meant our summer staff numbers were cut from around 900 to just 200 seasonal staff. Over 100 full-time park staff went above and beyond this summer too by redeploying into the parks to work 2 days a week throughout the summer. While many facilities have remained closed, we were able to put strict COVID-19 safety measures in place for our golf and beer garden operations. We were able to keep those operating and bringing in much needed revenue. Fortunately, thanks to the hard work of our full-time and seasonal staff, residents were able to keep using their parks and trails as much as possible this summer. Great weather also led to a surge in the demand for golf, bike trails, and beer gardens as well. We also received some help from the federal CARES assistance, and overall, we've been able to reduce the $10 million projected shortfall to just under $500,000. Without further federal action, however, there will be no CARES funds for 2021. And even without COVID-19, the underlying problems for parks funding still remain the same. Relying so heavily on revenue-generating services is simply not sustainable for the long term. The way our parks are funded is broken. The 2021 budget provides just $16 million of taxpayer funding to parks for over $305 million in property taxes. It's a tiny percentage of the county budget and far short of what the park system truly needs. The reality in Wisconsin, however, is that parks are classified as non-essential services by the state legislature. They're viewed as nice to have, but not vital by lawmakers. Counties are legally required to fund essential services like health and human services and courts first, which means non-essential services like the parks are often bottom of the list when it comes to receiving tax funding. In fact, Milwaukee County residents will only contribute an average of $17 in 2021 to the county parks from their taxes. As tax funding is so low for parks, over the past 2 decades, we've needed to rely more and more on revenue from park services like golf, venue rentals, and annual passes to fund the important work we do. As a comparison, in 1985, the park's annual operating budget was around $40 million, and over 1,400 full-time staff were employed. Today, our operating budget is still around $40 million and only 240 full-time staff. If our budget had simply kept up with inflation, it would be closer to $90 million today. So with this dramatic underfunding, it ultimately means that each year we will continue reducing services and delaying important maintenance. And 2021 will be no exception. So here's some of the key changes in the 2021 budget. To help the park system with adequate staffing for this summer, $282,000 has been allocated to parks for general seasonal summer staff. $65,000 has been allocated for horticultural staff, which will allow the Mitchell Park domes to stay open through the off-peak summer season. These funds may allow the opening of more wading pools and for lifeguards at Bradford Beach this summer. Milwaukee County Parks will develop a plan on how the seasonal funding will be used by March of 2021. An additional $40,000 has been provided to fund a workforce development program. It's called Uplift Milwaukee. and this will increase access to parks employment to underserved communities of color. Boat launch fees and marina slip rental fees will rise slightly, and golf greens fees at all 14 golf courses will increase by $2 for 18 holes and $1 for 9 holes. A non-resident fee will also be added to the county's water parks at Cool Waters, Schultz Aquatic, and Pelican Cove. All other admission, rental, and service fees will remain the same as 2020 rates. The 2021 budget also increases the amount of tax levy the park system will receive by $200,000, which will reduce our dependency on generating revenue from activities like picnic pavilion rentals, as those may still not be possible in 2021 due to COVID-19. Due to the ongoing constraints of reduced staffing, we will continue to reduce or suspend some park services. It's possible that the spring and summer in 2021 will look similar to 2020, with intermittent seasonal staffing resulting in reduced mowing and trash collection, limited restroom openings, and other basic service level reductions. McCarty, Jackson, Grobschmidt, Hales Corners, and Holler Pools will remain closed next summer and will have partially opening of wading pools and splash pads with the facilities that do not open equitably. With the facilities that do not open, we will make sure to do equitably distributed through the county. Indoor pools will remain closed until fall of 2021, and we anticipate this will impact our ability to train and hire lifeguards for the summer of 2021 as well. We will be limiting or suspending third-party project requests, including the Parks Improvement Project, land utilization permit requests, right of entry permit requests, land acquisition requests, as well as art installation requests, which could include murals. Parks has about $500 million in deferred maintenance needs, and each budget year we're allocated some capital funding to address some of these issues. The 2021 budget includes approximately $8 million in funding for capital projects. These include playground replacements at Rainbow Park, Pulaski Cudahy Park, Highland Park, Vogel Park, and Lindsay Park. Funds are also included for the repairs of the sinkhole on the Oak Leaf Trail zip line, as well as the replacement of a section of the Under Creek Parkway. Funding is also included to begin the planning efforts for resurfacing of the Curry Park parking lot and replacement of bridges within Washington Park. Work will continue on road improvements in Brown Deer Park, and repairs on Lake Park's Ravine Road Bridge are expected to begin in 2021 as well. Clearly, $8 million is barely a drop in the bucket towards the $500 million needed, and the operating budget shrinks every year. So, we know that the way parks are funded is broken, but what can we do about it? Well, the good news is there's 2 initiatives you'll hear more about in 2021, including the Milwaukee Parks Foundation and our work with the Wisconsin Policy Forum. The Milwaukee Parks Foundation was launched in November of 2019, and this year they have been working hard to develop a strategic plan. This new nonprofit will focus on raising funds to benefit the park system throughout the county and features a diverse board of directors. The Wisconsin Policy Forum have been tasked with researching how parks funding can be made sustainable for the long term. They'll take a deep dive into the options by looking into how the park systems around the country and the world are funded and how we compare. Their work will be funded by grants and take around 6 months. For more information on these initiatives, on our 2021 budget, and how you can help, please visit our Love Your Parks website at www.loveyourparksmke.com. That's www.loveyourparksmke.com. And thanks so much for taking the time today.